12.1 avec 91.1 FM à ce radio. So, tout qui l'a écouté, moi ça l'a écouté, moi ça espère moi soir, ça moi ni pour venir là avec ça l'a espère moi pour commencer parole là à ce c'est sujet nous voulons discuter ce soir à ce Palay Fwanchman. Ça c'est moi Ras IPA pour soir et commando c'est nous sur Hits FM. Moi, je vais parler premièrement à ce affaire moi comment faire apologie pour nous finir nous ça ou soit nous tarder un timide parce que nous regarde il y a chez bike technical qui pas côté nous pièces contrôle là ça mais RSS là RSS bon c'est pas mon plaisir c'est RSS c'est un système côté nous ne pouvons payer l'argent pour RSS. Nous ne pouvons payer l'argent pour venir ici. So the whole question of RSS is that it's a system, regional security system, that to come in when you have an exogenous situation, earthquakes, hurricanes, and insurrections and things of that sort. Civil disobedience, or maybe you have a situation where prisoners are revolting and so on, and there is a riot in the prisons, and you can control it with your local law enforcement agency because you have 400 and something prisoners within your facility, and then you have to get people from outside like the regional security system. But what we are hearing now is that these people we have to bring here, we have to house them. You have your taxpayers' dollar has to put them up in hotels or wherever. You got to feed them and so on. They are here now. And then the other thing we are hearing now is that they are almost useless here. I mean, I want to use the word useless because to me, I don't know which other word to use. If the Commissioner of Police is saying that they will need the assistance of either regional force or we need regional assistance in fighting crime, and we also need international assistance in fighting crime, it means that the RSS is not filling the gap. They are not able, they cannot suffice in terms of the whole question of fighting crime in the country. And this is something I knew from the beginning. If you don't have a proper police force, proper ministry, well constructed, a ministry that is very well constituted, a ministry that has all the necessary equipment to deal with the police force and to deal with security. Because obviously, most times, sometimes the Prime Minister is what you normally call the Commander-in-Chief. Believe it or not, in everywhere in the world, in every jurisdiction in the world, the Prime Minister is Commander-in-Chief, the Commander-in-Chief, the Chief Commander, the Chief Commanding Officer. In America, you have all kind of Colonel and Colonel this and National Security Minister, and but the reality about it is that the President of America is the Commander-in-Chief. He's the one who's going to push the button whether we're going to war or not, or whether America going to war or not. So in Saint Lucia, based on how Compton used to operate, he was the Commander-in-Chief. And serious decisions that has to be made within the police force was announced by John Compton. That's a fact. Now, Philip J. Pierre, you are the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, and you know, this is something the Prime Minister normally don't hold. They normally don't hold the position of national security because they are already the Commander-in-Chief. For God's sake, Philip, you couldn't think of that. You couldn't think of you are already Commander-in-Chief. You don't need to be the National Security Minister. And then, you know, we in a situation now where crime is overwhelming us in St. Lucia. Crime is just overwhelming us. Over the weekend we had 3 murders. One in Babono and several other shootings in Babono. One of the incidents happened on Thursday. The other incident happened another time during the following week. And then something happened in Jackmel and so on by some karaoke, and 2 of the other incidents happened by karaoke. I also say it questioned me. Now I'm a karaoke lover. I love karaoke, but it seems to me I have to decide which karaoke I'm going to go to nowadays. Look, we are hearing now. Last night there was gunshots in Masha. 1 dead and another badly injured. Now all we are hearing is we cannot prevent crime from happening. The Prime Minister had an interview. He said he cannot prevent crime from happening, but how are we going to resolve? How are we going to solve the crime? How are we going to bring the perpetrators of crime to justice? That's the $1 million question. You know, that's $6 million that you put into Carnival question. That $6 million or more dollars you put in Carnival for Thaddeus, Antoine, and Ernest Hilaire and his friends and his entourage with the Gibson girl and all of them. These are the questions we need to ask. Where did that money go? And the money that has to go, you know, just the Kenai unit you're supposed to assist is only $40,000. You said it was too much money. But now crime is at the point where the Royal Saint Lucia Police Force cannot deal with the situation of crime in the country. They don't have no strategy, no plan. They can't do proper investigation. The Prime Minister doesn't have ideas. He doesn't have no plan. He doesn't have no strategy. He has no, you know, he has nothing at all. For a matter of fact, I need to say he has no credibility in terms of dealing with situations of crime. Where are we? The people of the country, St. Lucia, doesn't have no confidence in the government, in the police force, and whatever area of dealing with criminal activities and so on, judiciary and so on. People don't have no confidence in them. So what are you going to hear tomorrow morning? The lady who was killed, the British woman who was killed abroad by some whosoever they may be, she had bad dogs around. Apparently these people knew about the dogs. I understood they killed one of the dogs, or if 2 of them, I'm not sure. You know, she was gagged and she was put some noose around her neck and so on, and put underneath some kind of bed and whatever, killed in a very gruesome manner. And I don't think her killing needs to have more volume in terms of the UN cry about crime than any other crime. It says that she's just one of the figures, one of the numbers that we have to count on, and that was killed. And especially if it's someone from a foreign country. We are a country that depend on tourism, yes, we depend on tourism. This is Hilaire talking about tourism and Pierre more than ever before. The same Philip J. Pierre who said that only Chasney believed that tourism will come back to what it was before. Is now everything he's talking about today is tourism. He on tables signing documents for new hotels, you know, in the new Hyatt hotels in Swazi and so on and so forth. But the crime situation is not going to help. Because who knows what's going to happen and what word we'll hear from the British. You know, the British might just say, well, they're warning the citizens to, you know, beware of St. Lucia, stay away from St. Lucia, blacklist St. Lucia, and so on and so forth. What can Philip J. Pierre, Ernest Hille, Richard Frederick, and also Stephenson King do in this regard? They go on to Parliament and they talk, and they're all now so talking blah 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 and about all kind of trivial things that doesn't matter, and here all we're hearing now, the RSS, our taxpayers' money are paying them to be here. These people, you think they just come here and they must be somewhere in some bush? I wonder if that's what some of you are thinking. You all must be thinking the RS fellas just come here and they're just somewhere on the bush in some tents and so on. No, sir. The government of St. Lucia have to pay every aspect of their presence in St. Lucia. Their food, their leisure part, their relaxation part, television, give them internet, give them all these sort of things so that they have, things to connect with their family abroad and all them things there. They have proper data, proper internet, Wi-Fi, everything else, television to sit and relax and comfortable dwelling place to stay. Yes. The RSS has to have that. At what cost? We haven't heard how much it will cost us. And Mr. Prime Minister, you need to tell us how much it will cost us for the RSS to be here. That is a total failure. Because the reason why I have to say it's a total failure is because the Commissioner of Police is now asking for other regional assistance in security and international assistance to try to investigate on crimes and so on. But the thing about it is that I don't think any of that will work. And you mightn't believe me, but it's true. And you mightn't say that when I say it's true, it's really true. Because if people don't have confidence in the system of our security in St. Lucia, in any areas of our system, whether it is in the section of government, section of police, or any other, how do you think people from abroad will come and all of a sudden, overnight, just restore confidence? How that going to happen? The last time we had something that called Operation Restore Confidence, it bring us in a serious debacle. We had situations of impacts report, impacts investigation, brought people from abroad. Then we have impacts report, and the impacts report now put endless people in the shade. And Kenny Anthony came and said, politicians, businessmen, high-ranking police officers were involved in judicial killing. That's what happened in St. Lucia. The last time we heard something about restoring confidence. How are we going to restore confidence in the police, in the government, in the Prime Minister? I think now is the right time for us to have what you call a vote of no confidence in that present administration. Not just the Prime Minister. He is the least of all the apostles in that government. I don't know where we are, but wherever we are here right now, it's not a right place for any one of us. It's a place where we can, any one of us could get killed just like that. Criminals are taking advantage. You remember when, a minister of government or someone who was, a minister of government went to Shabusha, or what the place named in Swazi, and confronted a police officer. I think his name was Wayne Shalry. And if you saw the picture where he was there, with Wayne Shalry, in his face, as if to say, in defiance, fronting his defiance against the police, the present Minister of Housing, and his defiance. So no wonder today we have so many young people feel like, who the hell is police officers? Who the hell is this and that? Nobody respects police officers as they should, and so on and so forth. And it's just really disturbing that the Commissioner of Police now, after he said the last time that he cannot protect witnesses, there is no money to protect witnesses, while $6 million went down into Bam Bam in the street, all women exposed in Carnival, give monies to these people Thaddeus and Healy and his friends to get subvention and so on, to go and buy equipment and costumes and materials in Trinidad and get duty free to bring it in as well and sell it for thousands of dollars and make endless money they already put in their bank book. And we now was left with the crumbs, like selling in some little coolers, and yet still we were not permitted. They wanted us to not be able, everything was price prohibitive. You know, the smallest cooler was 15, the medium is 25, and the large is 45 or 50. The little rims where you do barbecue, the small one is 15, the medium size was 25, and the large ones was 45, 50. That's where they put you, you know. Your tents, small tents was one price, big tents was another price, and so on and so on and so forth. You know, don't you realize those they call the Malawi are the people that they really putting all the pressure on? When they shut down projects and the government has to pay, you know, whether it's Fresh Start or whatever, 44 million or so, it doesn't even matter to them because they think they could just take that money and pay to them. But anywhere where, let's say, the former administration did some kind of consultancy with passports and so on and so forth, and then it's you, the public, who has to pay now. You, the Malawi and others, have to pay to get a passport to travel, to go to any little island, St. Vincent or anywhere. $250. And then they blame it on the former administration. This is not correct in this country. This is unconscionable. What is going on here right now is not right. It's going to put us in a state of where this country is becoming a failed state. Believe it or not, but this is what is going to happen. I am not one who prescribes that we just have to criticize government for criticism's sake. But what is happening there is just what is really happening. They have now decided that the Prime Minister said he's going to put everyone on notice there will be an increase in VAT. After Richard Frederick announced that how it is not the government's policy or is not any discussions that has taken place among government ministers or cabinet. It's just his own, you know, his own feeling that or his own self thing he's putting out there, that if he had his way and whatever, because Chasney, as he said, it decreased the VAT and caused us to lose millions and millions and so on, and he would just bring it back up, you know, if he had his way, because Chasney, and he want to make it look like, because he want all of y'all there to be against Chasney. So Chasney, you know, raise it and bring us in the state we are in the country. I don't know what state. He is so happy. He laughed in Parliament. Ha ha ha. All of them in Parliament with Virginia Albert and all, they're laughing like if there is no tomorrow. They are the happiest bunch in Saint Lucia. They're so happy in Parliament. My gosh. Oh, my, them people laughing out like, you know, like laughing, like they're paying them to laugh. And that's what we're paying them to do, to be happy and to laugh at all of us in Parliament. You know? But yet still they say things are so tough and they get things so rough. Just they check out the 2.5% on the VAT. Things have gotten so bad, you know, that you know they need to bring it back. And the moment he said there, Timothy Antoine made statements a few days afterwards, and that, you know, St. Lucia is in a critical situation, and as a result of that, they may have to raise VAT. Are you all giving Timothy any pressure to do this, to make these statements? Because I'm just hearing that an economist, Carlton Augustine, has put a set of fire on Timothy, and I agree with him. I want to agree with him. Timothy, what point you're making? And some of Timothy's statements are very questionable, even by me, who's just a layman and I'm not no economist. Because he talked about different, St. Lucia, one of the lowest VAT regime and so on in the Caribbean or in the Eastern Caribbean. There may be reasons for that. Antigua does not have what you call an income tax regime in the country. So people not paying income tax in Antigua. So if they decided that because there was a kind of situation in the Caribbean that, or in where in the Caribbean, Eastern Caribbean, that all they have come to a kind of unanimous agreement that all the countries must put on some kind of VAT or some tax and so on for everyone to contribute, because what they were saying, there was a time when only people who was really working was paying taxes, or really working, like to say, working with an entity, government and so on, and those who were unemployed and so on, and who were getting finance otherwise was not contributing to the taxation of the country and how the country ran. So they invent this whole thing about VAT, so everybody will be paying VAT. So now every dog and cat and puss and rat paying tax in Saint Lucia. Everyone paying taxes because they're paying through VAT. So the Antiguan government could have just say, well, okay, well, that's an opportunity for them to get a higher rate in terms of VAT because the citizenry are not paying income tax. Can you put that, juxtapose that to Saint Lucia? No, you can't. Because to tell you the truth, in Saint Lucia case, the amount of taxes Saint Lucia is collecting, Antigua is nowhere near collecting that amount of taxes. Saint Lucia is collecting a substantial amount of tax above Antigua because of Antigua population. Maybe about 80,000 people. Saint Lucia is double that. We're not sure what is the population of Saint Lucia right now because we're doing what you call, a census, and the census will tell us later on. But the point is, the reality is Saint Lucia obviously we will be collecting a whole lot more taxes than Antigua. So what's the point? Some countries that are giving more to the people, to the children, to young babies and so on. They're giving direct support to parents for young babies. They're giving direct support to the elderly and other things like that. And they're giving out, in terms of welfare and things of that sort. Obviously, I think I would give them the right to raise the VAT higher than us. And the VAT was 15%, and he brought it down, that's the Alan Chastney regime, to 12%. It's not something I supported, I could tell you that, I didn't. But now it happened. It didn't bring Saint Lucia in a worse fiscal situation in the world, in terms of the economy. It didn't make our GDP so terribly dangerous. For a matter of fact, the World Bank and them showed how Saint Lucia economy grew by 6-point-something% between COVID and 2021. And between 2021 to 2022, it shows that the economy grew by 12.2%. And Philip JPM mentioned it as well in his last budget. A budget where he borrowed $505.1 million. Borrowed. That's the largest we have ever borrowed in the history of Saint Lucia, borrowing money. But nobody cried out. Nobody said, oh my God, our generation after generation after generation will have to pay that money. Some people is claiming as if, I don't even know. I see something, I don't know how to go there. I just want to deal with my issues here and my issues here about the VAT. To me, is unfair to try to put VAT on people. To me, and then there are some people, what I'm hearing, bundling around, and I'm not sure if that's true, but people are saying it could be between 17, 20 and 21%. I'm not sure. Let's hope that they don't increase the VAT. In the same way, they are trying to take the licensing of firearms from the police. I think this is the wrong move. The Governor General have not signed it, but I think he need not to sign that document. I know he's not going to listen to me. Who's IPA to tell the Governor General don't sign that document? Because Governor Generals normally, they just toe the line. They don't stand up for nothing. Most Governor Generals don't stand up for nothing. All they stand up for is to get their salary and sign the documents. That's all they stand up for. Dale Paulette Lucy was there for years. The only thing she really was talking about was speaking Creole in Parliament, and she was in La Rose and whatever. And La Rose and these things, just imitation thing, imitating police. Could you imagine when you were the police officer and you were not conducting yourself properly? You know what they used to call you? Police La was. When you were a police officer and you were not conducting yourself as a police officer, you were not arresting no one, you were just there, things happening, you turn your head the other side, you never try to arrest nobody. In our local palace, they call you police laws police officers. So them Paulette Louise was not no big giant of nothing, just stood up for nothing more than to just toe the line and do everything according to the advice of the Prime Minister, and that was it. So could you imagine now, this Charles fellow there, whosoever his name, that is the Governor General, you think he's going to take any stand and say that you don't think this thing is right, that they have named the Governor, the Commissioner of Police to be the chairman of that committee or that board or whatever the Philip JP call it, and then get the permanent secretary from his ministry, the Ministry of National Security, and then the rest, where are they coming from? Who's going to name them? Is it going to be Richard Frederick or Stephenson King or Ernest Hilaire going to name the people they want there, their friends they want to give firearms or whatever and whatever? Who knows? They have some guys that is in their circles that are, very, questionable characters and so on. And they want firearms. Some of them are even claiming they have firearms and they don't. So people may think, well, they want to have firearms. So as a result now, so they are looking for firearms for them. Or if they have firearms, it's illegal, but they want to get it illegal. And Philip, you know what I noticed with you since the other day? Every time you're in the house, when you're doing your rebuttal or you want to talk and you're talking, you always have to mention the Minister of Housing. You always have to mention the representative for Castries Central. As if you need to say something and always mention his name one way or the other. Are you afraid of the guy, Philip? I don't know. I have to ask you. It seems that somehow you must say something and his name must come up every time you're doing your rebuttal, rebuttal or whatever. I'm not sure if that's true. Maybe I'm just observing things that are not there. Maybe it's my mind playing tricks on me, but I don't know. The other thing is that I want to say that here tonight. A lot of people are warning me, are telling me things like, "Pop, be careful," and so on. I want to tell you all something. I went through this thing with the Vendors Association. A lot of people was out there, not a lot of people, a few people out there supporting me, though I'm not supporting me, those in government. They had kind of force in government against me. Some inside force was against me. They do all they can to see how they could get rid of me. But I really want to tell them one thing. The things you all are good at, that's not what I'm good at. A lot of you all probably, you're good in money laundering, drug dealing. You're probably good in other things like, in criminal activities and, getting rid of people disappearing and all, doing all these kind of bad things. You know what I mean? I'm not in, I can't do these things. What I can do is represent people. Give people proper representation. Feel their pain. Feel their sufferings. Feel what the little people are going through and stand up for them. That's the only thing I can do. That's one thing I believe you all cannot do better than me. You all can do a lot of things better than me. The things you all can do better than me, are rogue things. But the things I can do, I don't think none of you all can do it as good as I can do it. I can do these things by representing people, giving the voiceless a voice, standing for, the downtrodden, the vulnerable in our society, the voiceless. I want to be a voice for them. I've been a voice for them. So, do what you all wish. Try what you all can. It's up to you all. I have lived a portion of life on this earth. So far, I've been trying my best to enjoy my life. The thing about me is, I don't have much. And the thing about me is, I'm not expecting to get a lot. And some people say it's not a good thing to not to expect good. You must always work to achieve more and achieve more. Well, sometimes when you look at your situation, you look at your standard, everything that's going on around you, you just tell yourself, you're satisfied with whatever is coming. And if better come, you would accept it and you would grab it with both hands. But outside of that, you're not going to be grabalicious. You're not going to, be fighting and trying to fight your life out and not being happy to do right things in your life just because you're trying to grab and trying to achieve. And some people do so much wickedness to achieve. They do so many bad things to achieve. They kill people, they murder people, they drug running, money laundering, do all kind of things that are abominable to achieve. I cannot do it. That's not me. My conscience will not give me to do these things. And that's all I want to say about that. But one thing I want to say is that we have failed, our judiciary have failed, we have failed our people miserably, and it seems to me that we have no answers to the questions that are affecting St. Lucia very seriously. If you notice over the weekend how many people got shot, and how many people got, and as if it's business as usual. Nobody takes this thing seriously. Now we have 42 homicides and so on, and where are we going from here? What is the next step from here? And that's the problem that is affecting us very seriously. The other thing I want to say, I don't know if our lines are working, but I would say we have a line with 489-4781, and we are streaming live on 92.1 and 91.1 FM. We also, we're not streaming live on 92. We have a simulcast, and it's also on 92.1 and 91.1 FM, and we also doing it on Facebook with stream live with Caribbean Hits FM. I don't know what we should do right now, but the reality about it is our situation. And something I wanted to mention again, and I want to say it again and again, and I don't think I'll ever get tired of mentioning that. We had a video that showed situation where people were saying that there was a shipment of ammunition, guns and ammunition, that was destined for St. Lucia. And there was an audio voice of what was saying within the video that this was destined for St. Lucia. But the problem I have with all of that is not whether this news was true or not true. But the point is, why didn't we have someone from the government, from the law enforcement or wherever, to say to us, debunk this in a way? You know what I mean? Refute the story and say, no, this didn't happen. Disabuse our mind that whatever this video that was on social media said is not true. So hence we have the situation where people don't want to give information to law enforcement agency because they're not operating properly. People are not secure. People cannot give information. The responsibility of the government of the day is to secure lives and livelihoods, that people must feel safe to go about their daily routine and business in the country. If that is not guaranteed by our government, this government needs to say bye-bye. They need to put their hands up and put up the white flag and say, we cannot manage to run this country. Just like how the police officer, commissioner of police is saying now, that we need the assistance of a regional force or regional whatever. And while he's saying that, we have the regional security system here. But he's saying we need other systems to assist us. And we need international as well. I'm not saying he's lying. I'm just saying that we have failed miserably. We have not spent the monies where we ought to have spent it. We have the forensic that's not working. We have a prison system that is not properly constituted. We have situations in the prison that if you hear about it, it will make you puke. Someone told me recently, it's a shame for me to even say that to you, that the reason why the crime situation and a lot of different kind of crimes has not happened here is because we have good prisoners. Could you imagine that? Because prisoners almost have control of the prison. They control the prison doors where they are in and out. They are getting top up and they could sell it. Top up that was supposed to be for, the wardens or whatever. I mean, tell me where we are. Is that a country? Or have we already lost it as a country? And we have some people parading there in Parliament as if they're parliamentarians and so on, and as if they represent something. I told you the other day that I talk about the integrity of Herman Gill Francis, but I should say credibility. And I'm saying that Herman may not be a person of high level of credibility. Not because I want to bring him down or anything of that sort. I hope you're not thinking so. I'm just trying to juxtapose what he's saying here now with what happened and transpired at the time of Broughton, the commissioner of police, who was a British guy when he went on vacation, and what transpired in terms of giving license firearms to people, I think, that didn't deserve to have any. And that was all at the behest of someone who's in government now and who was in a former administration before, a former UWF administration. We need to talk about these things openly. And I'm still saying that I'm agreeing with Herman Gill Francis when he made the statement that the step the government made in trying to take away the licensing rights to give people licensed firearms from the police, from the law enforcement agency, into some kind of board or committee or something of that sort is not a step in the right direction, and he's correct. If I never really disagree with Herman Gill Francis at any other time, I have to agree with him now. He's correct. This is wrong. We cannot afford to do what is happening there. Because, for a matter of fact, what the Prime Minister is saying is as if, everything will just remain the same. Well, if it has to remain the same, why don't you let it remain where it is? It's not about the commissioner, the individual. Who told you it's about that? What we are saying is that leave it where it is. Because the commissioner of police is not the sole person that deciding if someone gets a licensed firearm. There is a vetting process that is done by a set of police officers to find out who this guy is, who's seeking to have a licensed firearm. Check his record, check his behavior, check his standing in his community, and so on and so forth. And then everything comes in front of the commissioner, and the commissioner is the final arbiter, is the final person to say, okay, all right, well, based on the information that he has, this person deserves to have a firearm. But when you put the commissioner of police, and you're just getting me sick. You know why? By just saying how, well, the commissioner is still responsible for security of the country and all them things there. That doesn't say jack whatever. Because the reality is that you have taken from his hands and from the hands of the law enforcement agency the right to vet properly and to decide who must have a firearm in Saint Lucia. And you want to put it in the hands of some guys where you all will choose a cabinet. And if it's not you all, a next government, when they come, they will have the same prerogative. They will have the same right to choose who would do that same thing there. That's wrong. Now, I'm not saying police officers are perfect or they're doing their job the way they ought to do it. I'm agreeing, no. But in terms of that licensing thing, in my opinion, I think they have been doing a good job. Because I think they have done it right, that not many citizens of the country have firearms. And then I don't think it's the right thing, to just willy-nilly just give everybody firearms all over the place. I don't think it's correct. I don't think anybody, just because you have a little business. So the guy who's in the Constitution Park now, who has this thing doing this, whatever, this cotton candy thing, and he applied for a firearm because he's doing too little cotton candy. So just because he applied for a firearm, you should give him one. I don't think so. So, Philip, for saying the things you're saying and the way you're saying it, I have a serious problem with you. Because when the Commissioner of Police sits on a board and he's the chairman, anybody could override him. It's majority, even if you have a casting vote. And a casting vote is only if you have a tie. Y'all don't know these things? People in St. Lucia, you don't know these things? The reality about it is, the Commissioner of Police sitting on the board as a chairman doesn't say jack nothing. It doesn't say that he can reverse anything, or if the board make a decision, he could say no, that's not a good decision. So obviously that he's given the right to reverse all the decisions that is made by the board generally, to say no, in his opinion that person should not have a firearm. So if they're giving an ex-convict a firearm, someone has a dangerous criminal record, people who have serious criminal intent, people who have committed serious crimes in the country, people who have a history of their relatives and their family have been involved in criminal activities and very serious, gruesome criminal activities, should not have a firearm. And then these people want to give them one, and the commissioner say, no, these people shouldn't have any firearm. Is he going to, can he override these people? When you're on a board like that, for a matter of fact, as far as I know, sometimes the chairman's opinion has to just remain, his opinion. He's not entitled to espouse his opinion there in that meeting, I have a serious problem with these things. I think we are moving in the wrong direction. I don't care who are the people who's going to be on that board. I just think it's a step in the wrong direction. As long as the Commissioner of Police is only the chairman of the board, his position has been diminished immensely. That means to say, you know more I've said. And I don't want people come and tell me about Mr. Daisy and if he's this and if he's that. Over the years, we have always have political interference in the police force. Over the years, we have had where Commissioner of Police are placed there at the behest of the Prime Minister and the government in power. So this is nothing new. If it's Shastley who's the one who choose Daisy, then that's not the first time a Prime Minister choosing someone. So Shastley didn't invent something. It's not like this is so novel. You know what I mean? This is a novel activity that, this is novel because Shastley invented as if, well, it's the first time this is something new. Horse shit, in my opinion. Horse shit. These things have been happening all the time. Imagine John Compton was one of the best in that area there in terms of having full control of the police force. If John Compton didn't have interference in the police force, people who are ministers of government right now would not have been, there would not have been no minister in the government. If John Compton had did what he ought to have done when certain people were in the police force and they were carrying on with some dangerous activities within the police force, if John Compton had acted as and keep his hands off and let the police do their work, some of these people would not be in our government today. And that is the thing. I remember when Kenny Anthony made statements, frightening for the presence of certain people in our government. You know what I know, you know what I know, and all them things. Statements by Kenny Anthony. He will not be in a cabinet with people he believes that are involved in criminal and drug dealings and other criminal activities. And he's not in that cabinet neither now. There is a situation in Kokodan in Vieux-Fort where there is some person who trying to get some land there, some 2 acres of land, to develop something with fisheries and things, do something about fisher folks, to help them in terms of, building fiberglass boats, and to help them in terms of retraining them, repairing boats, training them how to deal with equipments on the sea, that they don't get lost, and all these kind of things. He paid some money, as I understood, $2,500 to get a list, and I think he was assisted by Bradley Felix, and I'm understanding that he doesn't get a good way in. He have not received a list for the money that he paid agreement to do the deal, and it looked like, I don't know, but Alva Baptiste, are you involved in that kind of thing? And wouldn't you think it's something good that a young gentleman is involved in something that is going to help fishermen? In fact, I'm even hearing that this gentleman is involved in trying to get fishing trawlers and things like that in that area to assist the fisher folks and so on, and so on, to train them, to assist them, help. They have some, imagine I just getting to know that they have some fisher folks who are going to sea all the time and they are not very good swimmers, and the guy is trying to get involved in helping, training them professionally, both to swim and to understand how to read things, to do things on their phone, to understand the weather situation, weather patterns, and so on and so forth. But Alva, I don't know, are you getting involved in nepotism in that area there? Alva, you seems to be a guy sometimes, I mean, you kind of sound like most of the time that you kind of imitating George Odler most of the time, and you're talking some things, some things of the old past, the old type of rhetoric of talking politics and so on. And over the years, I don't know what much you have done in the library. And it's not that I'm knocking you, but what really you have done in library, and so on. I don't know, but to me, you have not really, it's a set of old platitudes, and keep regurgitating things like how George Odlum speak, and imitating George Odlum, and talking things, and bringing out this kind of talk and this tone of voice and so on. But I don't know if you have really done anything in library. Library almost like a place that nothing has never happened there from since Noah was a boy. But I don't know. You probably might say you have done a lot in terms of the way you're talking. You talk like George Orwell, you're imitating him, I think. You talk all this kind of platitudes and, imitating and so on. But what else you have done? And then the other thing is, people who wants to do things and progress in the country, especially in that particular area, in the Kokodan area, some part of your fort, you are responsible, I understood, it being a part of library or whatever. And then you're not doing nothing to assist the people who wants to bring progress to the place. I don't know, but I'm trying to get some more information on that whole scenario there in Kokodan. And Alva, I'm just putting you on notice that when we get proper information, I probably will come down a little bit heavier on you. But I don't know a lot of some of the information that I really want to talk to you about. There are a number of things about bank loans and so on, and things that are happening. And then I understand your involvement in the whole thing is like you're trying to block people. I don't think that's your work as a government minister and a person who's involved in the government and in that particular department, a constituency for so many years. I think you would be able, your work is to assist people and not judge them of what political party they are affiliated with, or who tried to help them in the past. Now I understand the name Bradley Felix came up, and apparently you're upset about that. But I don't think it's something that you should do. And I think the gentleman who's trying to get that 2-something acres of land there to do whatever he's trying to do, let me see, whatever areas he's trying to do there, is how many acreage of land? In terms of acres, I think it's a certain amount. And I think, yes, I think it's 2-point-something acres of land. And I think you should try to assist the people, them, Brother Alva Baptist. I don't think you need your name to go down in such mud in terms of talking about nepotism and other things like that. I hope you stay clear of that. And I think you should try to be more, a stupendous person instead of trying to be who you're trying to be now, which I don't think is a very good thing for you and your future in government and governance. I don't know if we're going to have a break now. Are we going to have a commercial break? Or? Are we going to have a commercial break? No? Maybe no. Maybe not. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But and I'm looking forward to see if we could get some calls as well. The other thing is that you can send messages through the WhatsApp. That's another thing that can happen. We can get messages from WhatsApp. You can call us on the WhatsApp platform. If you're not getting through with the phone lines, you can call on the WhatsApp platform, because you could put us on your phone 489-4781, and send a message, and you could send a voice message as well, or you could also call us on WhatsApp and see where whatever you can contribute to was the program. That will be something very, very interesting for us to hear from you. And don't be afraid to put your voice out there. Don't be afraid to talk. Sometimes people say you talk because you're angry, and probably you didn't get something, you were looking for something. And government is not really about contracts, and some of you thinking that all that should happen right now is every government we put there, everybody should try to see how much contracts they can get. So Renault now getting all the contracts, and then when it wasn't Renault, it was Fresh Start, and when it wasn't Fresh Start, it's National, Nationwide, and so on. So Nationwide now and Renault are getting the contracts now. Renault, when he get contracts, you know what happened. He has all the equipment, he has all the material, so not many people benefiting from contracts Renault get from government. And now, but in Nationwide, I'm not sure in Nationwide, they probably subcontracting and so on, but Renault don't do much subcontracting. Some of the projects that has been shut down, who's going to do them now? Maybe it's Renault. And I heard him mentioning Renault name a lot these days on talk shows, and he seems to be getting everything, and everything should be going his way. My good friend Shazi, what's up, my brother Shazi? I need to give you a shout because I understood that you probably got your job back at the consulate in Martinique. What's the position you have there now, Shazi? I wish someone would be able to call me and tell me what's your position, or send me a message and tell me exactly what's Shazi's position at the consulate. The last time I think he was some assistant or something like that there. He wasn't the person who was in charge of the head of the consulate in Martinique. So now what is the position that you have today, my friend? I still need to say that you, in my opinion, and it's because you assisted our vendors for going into Martinique. There was something they called a Festival du Marché, and it was the market festival down there. where several markets were celebrating, some festival. We were there at the market, the Fond de France in Martinique, and the Fond de France municipal department was there. We met with the mayor. We had breakfast with the mayor of Fond de France, and they all came out and in support, and they wanted this thing to be a continual exercise whenever they have these festivals in various parts of Martinique, that Saint Lucia would have a contingent, and we would be able to be there. And you worked with us there when we were up there. The Vendors Association had, I think, the better part of 8 people or so, I think, I'm not sure, I can't remember. And they put us up and they gave us breakfast in the morning, and they sponsored that. The mayor and the municipal of Fond de France took responsibility for that on our behalf, and we went up there. Some of our vendors brought in craft up there and so on, and it was something that I must say that you, in terms of the assistance we got from you and the support, it was really, really good. So I'm not talking about, I hope people don't think I'm trying to praise the Labour Party or anything of that sort. I'm really saying that you as an individual did a good job in that regard. So your re-employment in that particular area, I probably, it's neither here nor there with me. I'm not going to say you should or you shouldn't get the job. I mean, it's just that, sometimes people get jobs and they forget the whole advocacy that they were pretending to be. Someone who advocating for all kind of freedom and justice and this and that. And when the government that they support, that was in opposition, gets in office, they stop the vanguard of justice and so on that they were portraying out there. They finish with that totally, and they just have their little cushy jobs. For example, if you are you hearing anything from something Catherine Seeley anymore? Are you hearing anything from Catherine Seeley? I don't think you're hearing anything much from her. She's very cushy now. Even though you heard that there are a few people who move out or who resign or from, and this is a shame for you, the media of Saint Lucia. Some people resign from the Department of Housing, and all you could say, maybe 4 or 5 people resign there, but nobody can mention a name of who these people are and what position they held in that particular department. This is a shame where we are in Saint Lucia, that the journalism has gone to the dogs. Everybody who was making noise and who was talking about the former administration, Miguel, Fevrier, Viviane, Isidore, and a set of them, now they're in questionable jobs and so on, and they're talking and singing the song of this present administration, and not the song of the people and the song of asking the right questions and so on to bring out information as to what is really going on in this country. That's the problem. That's the problem. I'm hearing now that, they probably will try to remove people from a particular department, a particular area in Castries, maybe those on Jeremy Street near to the Rickeye place there, this little place that I was set there, and build these little huts that I thought it wasn't right to do that in the first place, because this is a city, and someone is calling here, we're getting a call here. Let's take a call. Yes, caller, good night.
Yes, good night, IPA.
Yes, good night, sir. How are you doing?
I've been trying to get your session for the longest while. Even when Lady Diane is there. But the call, it just ends. It cuts off. I don't know what's causing that.
Well, you could call on WhatsApp, as we said, try to...
I know. I'll put it on the phone. I didn't have it on WhatsApp yet. Okay. Now, I just want to let you know that people listening to the program, maybe they're not getting through to the line. The program is very informative. I learn a lot from you. I know things. I get to know things I didn't know. many things you speak about that you bring out to light. You're doing a very good job, even if you don't get a call, that people are listening. And I noticed something happens every time you have to come on. A few Tuesdays ago, the station went off entirely. Up to tonight again, you have to start late because of some technical, I don't know what's causing that. But the program is very interesting. I also listen to you and the Lady Diane on a morning. And I usually get through. Because I'm the one they call Nom Dollar. Yeah, I call Nom Dollar. Yeah. Yeah, I go. Yeah, same way. Yeah, same way. Yeah, I try to. Yeah, you know me. We have spoken at the arcade some long time ago. Yeah. Yeah. I call. I listen all the time. I listen to Lady Diane. I listen to you. I never miss the program. On Tuesdays, as soon as I leave Juba, I head for you. You know. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's kind of confusing to me, to the extent. Let me close on the radio. Hold on. Okay. It's kind of confusing to me. This has been happening for the longest while. Remember when they had this Operation Restore Confidence, and the former Prime Minister brought Jamaicans to investigate our police. Jamaica has a lot of problems with their police themselves. Lots of things, they end up arresting a lot of them. So I find it strange they have to bring these guys here to investigate our police. Right? This is something that happens all the time. I don't know why this is happening. For instance, I remember when we had Hemingway and another one, there were two guys, two British fellas. And I understand these guys were under a lot of pressure. They wasn't cooperating with them. You know? Yeah. I don't know. We don't know what we want, man. But for the problem to be solved, I think the only thing that would help is if people get to have a personal relationship with God. A man in his own, with his academics and everything, academics is words and figures that you study from books and so on. But unless a man have a personal relationship with God, this thing will continue. I just don't understand what is going on with all these murders and as if the guys have no, how do you call it? There's something they call it, you know, no remorse or nothing like that, you know? Yeah, no remorse. Yeah, but I think, well, yeah, but I know. Yeah, but the problem is we need to have this thing that they have in other countries where I can see the person, but the person can see me, something like some kind of mirror. And if you go in and right, they bring about four guys that almost look like whoever that they suspect. And you there who have seen the person that committed the act can point out the person, but the person can see you. However, it is said that some policemen would go and tell the person or something that this guy is the guy that mention your name or whatever it is, or they bring you in front of the person and say, this is the guy, you know, whatever. So you find you put a fear in the people when they notice the crime. I think in Fulasho, wasn't it in Fulasho where a guy saw somebody kill somebody, and then they went in his home and killed him after that? I think, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, that. Yeah, we right. Protection and the way it is now, it is a long time to get that rectified, you know, because the people have no confidence in the police. Now, some people, they end up saying that the police not doing their job and whatever. But if the guy is telling the police, we have better guns than you, we have more guns than you, the police themselves maybe don't know what to do. All right, that's how I look at it. Now you can keep me as long as possible, but it's already 9:30. I guess your time is almost up, eh? Uh, yeah, people all about, and not that alone, the police are not protected because they're not supposed to be too close to the area. You destroy evidence. Now the police themselves can get themselves killed too, or in trouble, not knowing who is there. It could be the same criminal as there, coming pretending they're looking at the thing. Oh well, after that, I think they respect the police in Saint Lucia because anytime there's an arrest, people would criticize the police and tell them leave the person alone and all kind of things like that. I don't know why it's happening, no? Yeah. Or in Soufriere, talking about Soufriere by the Sulphur Spring, by the pitons. Right, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, but what about some time by the House of Assembly? This Yadi guy that's on another station, he insulted the police and pushed the police off and everything, and nothing happened to him.
Exactly.
I don't know if you saw it. It was on we saw it online.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
That's the thing, you know, that's the thing. So these people who they come there and they puff up themselves in front of police officers and they show defiance against police officers, and you're wondering, you know, why they have to behave in that way, and that's why now too, when people saw these things and saw the portrayal of this kind of behavior, that maybe now you have people now don't want to respect police officers. When
and not that alone. Where's the example for the young people?
Exactly.
Where's the example?
And then when the present administration came into office
not
now,
alone. They have some what they call music now, because I'm a musician, I don't call somebody sing music. It's a lot of obscene language, insulting the police, degrading women.
yes, correct.
So if a child is brought up, in a home, hearing that morning, noon, and night, you don't expect that's what the child know. If you said bring up a child when the child is young, up to the age of 7 or so, the child will not depart from the training. Like the child is brought up hearing and listening to this kind of music and cursing the child and whatever, it will make it very difficult to have a very disciplined nation by 10 to 20 years, if it continues like that.
Yeah, and the other thing too is when administration come in and the first thing they do is to expunge criminal.
I know that was a classic in it. that was a classic in
and just to show people as though defiance is good. People who were defiant in the time of COVID, and people thought that some of the measures that were taken to protect people's lives and to protect people's livelihoods, as if, they were wrong to do these things, and as soon as we come in, we expunge these things and so on. These were not good signals at all.
The way I look at it, nobody should be above the law. Regardless of who you are, if you break the law, you're supposed to meet the penalty should meet the crime, and this thing doesn't happen in Saint Lucia now, Anybody can do anything and get away with it, That's how I look at it.
Yeah, because these days not even the judiciary people listening to, people not even taking, even situations in terms of people send things to what you call it there, the mediation thing, and after you go to mediation.
That mediation thing was another classic case, especially the one with Mr. Chico.
Yes. Chico. And then again, the point I want to make on that one there, before we close, is that the present minister seems to be talking about as if this matter have been dealt in court. This matter have not been dealt in court, because mediation is not a court. Mediation is an alternative to the court. And how what mediation is supposed to be called? Mediation is supposed to be, if you come, like let's say I'm referring to you and I in a situation. You and I are good friends, and I said something about you, and then you came by the arcade and you were so angry and you ended up giving me 2 slaps in my face. But you give me 2 slaps, I took you to court and so on and there. But then the judge said, well, Gaston, you all are partners, and you all go to mediation and deal with that away. That doesn't mean mediation is going to make you not guilty of what you did. Mediation you might tell me, well, IPA, that's why I wake up this morning and I was so in a bad mood, and then after I heard you, a man like you, that's my good friend, you say something like that, I came there and I did it, but I didn't really mean to do that, blah, blah, blah. And even though I come to a conclusion, some kind of understanding, that doesn't mean to say you were not guilty of giving me the slap.
Yeah, sometimes you can go temporarily in sin and say certain things where you then regret yourself after too, and it's good.
Exactly. So if you have a situation where you circumvent the law of the land, you did things that you were not supposed to do, you get things coming on the name of the mission and all of that. You went to mediation. What mediation would expect you to do is to come and say,
it means it's not that you're guilty or not guilty. You're trying to have an applicable solution.
Solution to the thing. Exactly. You're trying to get an applicable solution. Let's say you couldn't produce.
You can't go about beating your chest as if you're guilty or not guilty.
Right. And the other thing is that it's not that you could say, well, okay, but you could come and say, well, okay, all right, well, you know what happened is that I didn't have the documents and I tried not to think, and then, but anyway.
And the other thing, the statement I made earlier about personal relationship with God, I'm not referring to any religious organization or denomination. I'm referring to you personally,
Yeah, because people believe in different things, and I agree with you. The point you made there is so good. That's why you see, sometimes I told Lady Diane sometimes the way she talk, and she wants to involve me in trying to talk something on people religion. I don't want to get involved in that because people have different beliefs. They are Muslims, they are Hindus.
I'm not referring to religious organizations. I'm referring to people that believe and they're serious about what they believe, and they learn to love their fellow men, love themselves. It will make the place a better place.
Of course, because there are Christians, there are Hindus.
If you have hatred in your heart, It's just like politics and religion. Politics, if I'm not your color, I hate you because you are one color and I'm a different color.
Are we not supposed to be enemies because of that?
Religion, if I am not the same of your religious doctrines, the fundamental doctrine, I hate you because of that. It shouldn't be so.
I agree with you 100%. That's how we're supposed to think. I agree with you.
We have to respect each other's
faith. Because let me tell you.
And political persuasion,
exactly. Because
but it's not like that now.
Exactly.
If the person I love or whatever party is in power, everything the party do good.
Exactly.
Nothing is bad. And
because
if the other man, everything gets do good. Both sides have good. For instance, this thing Richard Frederick did about the CDCs, I think it was a good thing. Because it is said there are people that live in, they have built their houses and they were renting the apartments for people, collecting rent from them and not even paying the housing, you know. So I think what he did, having the people to come, give them amnesty and have them to come to put their names, those that are in the apartment, I think that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing.
And the other thing I wanted to say to you before you go is that, irrespective to whatever denomination or religion you're in, there are good people in either religions. Don't matter what religion. There are good and bad people in Rastas, good and bad people in Christianity.
Yeah, there's no perfect. As bad Muslims, there's no good and bad. There's no perfect.
Hindus, good and bad people in all religions. So there are balance.
But there's no perfect person in any denomination.
Correct.
We all are weak in certain areas.
Correct.
Your weakness will not be mine, but I can assist you and you can assist me.
Correct.
There's no perfect person, you know.
Yeah, correct.
I don't know why people think they are perfect people.
Yeah,
sometimes this person that you look up to will end up doing something. Say, no, that person did that thing like that, but you don't know.
Correct. Yeah.
If you were in the same situation, under the same circumstances at the same time, if you may not react even worse than that person.
Correct.
Yeah, you know.
Well, anyway, caller, nice talking to you. I appreciate the little, engagement that we had tonight.
Okay.
It kind of relaxed me a bit more.
I look forward to hearing you all in the morning.
I'm looking forward for being here.
Yeah, because there's a program now up to 8 o'clock. You all start at 8 now and not at 7 anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, I listen all the time, but I don't always get the calls.
The calls, yes. Well, it's okay. Thank you very much for that. But I appreciate your call.
You're welcome. Okay, take care.
Take care. Thank you very much. Yes. Well, what we're going to do tonight now for after this caller here, a very interesting point we were discussing there, a number of issues and so on, and we touched on a number of things that I think, I like this caller, I like his voice, and he sounds like someone I've had some conversation with before, and he in fact confirmed that we have had some discussion at the vendors arcade. All I want to say tonight is that this country really belongs to all of us. This country belongs to each and every one of us. Therefore, we must do what is possible, what is necessary, what we can to make sure or to ensure that we try to get the government to do what they ought to do. And you heard me. I'm not trying to tell you all of us is responsible for law and order. I'm not telling you all of us is responsible to keep the peace in the country. I'm not telling you none of these things. I'm not telling you all of us is responsible for this and for that. I'm telling you that we have people we employ to take the responsibility to do the right things and to make things right in the country. When they take $6 million and put it into carnival and then the hospitals don't have medicines, how do you expect to blame all of us for that? If we put people there to make sure and to ensure that the police have the proper equipment to do the right jobs, to create something for witness protection and other things like that, and they take monies and put it in other areas that are not the priority for us in terms of our security of the country, how you want to blame all of us for that? How you want to say it's all of us responsibility, all of us have to be the ones to think it's not my responsibility to do investigation and to bring criminals to justice. It's not mine. My responsibility is to pay taxes. And when I pay the taxes, these taxes are used to pay people to do the job. My responsibility is to go and vote to put a government in office to do the work. and not to give them all the chances in the world, like some people tell me. By my chance, yeah, but the online by your chance. As soon as you are employed to do a job, or you're employed to do a job, you have to start working. So what you want to do, you want to do on-the-job training. So how many years a party wants to be in office before they start working? 2 years, 3 years, and then, or maybe 4 years, and the 5th year start campaigning to win the next election and say you didn't get enough time. To me, this is hogwash. What we need in Saint Lucia, we need to demand more from the people that we employ. We need to demand constitutional reform, to change things around, to put time limits on politicians in office, especially politicians who are responsible for, they are the custodian of our wealth and our taxpayers' dollars and all them things there. People say, oh, IPA, look at this, look at how many years you are president of the Defiance Association. I'm president of an organization that I am doing what you call voluntary work to. No one is paying me. I don't even get a stipend of not even $100 a month to be vendors of the president of the Vendors Association. So what? But the people that we put in government, they are the custodians. Well, Phil JP just got the custodian of $1.8 billion. He boasts about it. And his government is responsible. They have a CIP program where they just have in their possession, they took the legislation from the hands of a board, amended the legislation, and put how the money must run in the CIP of $100 million in their possession, them to be the ones to decide where the money must be spent. They just gave the other day $10 million of some Taiwanese money to Honorable Richard Frederick for him to spend in building huts and repairing houses, as he say. I don't know if that's true. How much money have been spent so far? How much more money left to be spent? All these things, account. We're not getting none of these things. We're blaming the former administration for so much corruption. How much corruption have happened so far since this government is in office? We don't know. People getting a lot of contracts, 17 contracts for 29 million and so on, and they're getting on the same thing, like where the contracts where Fresh Start used to start, the direct order, direct, whatever. These things we have to understand. The question of getting what do you call it again? Finance. I think it's FDC, Finance, Develop and Construct, something like that. Or Design and Construct, Finance, Design and Construct, FDC. The same thing that was with the what you call it there. So not direct awards. I think that's what we call it. Direct award. The whole contract thing. And that's still going on. That was something that made so prominent by Kenny Anthony and them. That's still going on all now. So what? Not anything has really changed from the last administration, or has it gotten worse? Now you're going to raise VAT on us. Now we don't have a proper security force now. We need people, help from abroad, regional and international. This is where we are. Saint Lucia, wake up. We need a term limit. We need sometimes to recall people who are not doing no jobs. We also need to have a day for election. It's a day I want to. We don't want a date. A date could fall anytime. It could fall on a Sunday. It could fall on a Saturday. We want a day, a particular day, like the first Monday or the first Tuesday in whatever month. So whether the first Tuesday is the first week in the month or the second week in the month, that's what we want. We don't want politicians to tell us they have a small bell and they need a bigger bell and all them things there. We all know when this election is going to be held, and let us have it that time. We need a contractor general. Too many people just inflating contracts and getting kickbacks of contracts and all these things. We don't want a government of contracts. We want a government to push the country forward. We want a government that could give incentives to children when they're born, take care of them, don't leave the responsibility for fathers alone. And older persons to take the bus without even paying, and the government will pay for that. You understand what I mean? We need a better system of welfare in the country, a better system of welfare. People are paying taxes now, they are paying VAT. And if they are paying VAT, it means that they are paying taxes. They need more than $215 a month. So if you didn't get a chance to pay NIC, to pay this or to pay that, but you've been paying VAT, you've been buying food, you've been buying this, you're paying VAT. Now they're saying, some people say, don't do the vagrants are paying VAT. Because if I buy a plate of food and I couldn't eat it and I throw it there, and the vagrant go and eat it, they end up eating my VAT money. So obviously they are part of the VAT too. Obviously. So let us start to devise and do things in the best interest of the country. Let us try to extend even the NIC, extend it to the point where, we try to bring in more people in. Emma Hippolyte didn't do a good job. Let someone else do a good job and bring in more people in the pool. Bring in the vendors, bring in the taxi drivers and the minibus drivers, the farmers, and other people, other self-employed people, bring them in. Once you're making money somehow, make it mandatory. You pay, thing. It's something that you should really work hard and have a passion. You must be passionate about people getting, a pension that they don't suffer in the longer run. We probably don't have a system to put nothing in place to force people to look after their grandparents, but we should do something to look after them as well. And this is my show tonight. I just want to say thank you very much for listening to me tonight. I know a lot of you are listening to me out tonight. The numbers are there. Try to put the number on your phone. Put it in your contacts as Caribbean Hits FM or Hits FM, and put the number 489-4781 at Hits FM, so we can talk here more often. So if you don't have if you can't get through with the lines, for some reason the lines are blocked, maybe they're doing something to us here or whatever, you can call on WhatsApp or send a voice message on WhatsApp and so on. And I think with that we'll be able to get through with you. We'll be able to answer your calls and maybe answer your messages, and also just hear you out and see what you're trying to say to us. So I want to say to you, thank you very much out there for listening to us. This was Palay Fwanchman with Ras IPA.